this weekend, where the weigh-off would take place. And the complaint cites some of the language that these fighters use, the way I'm not going to repeat the language, frankly, Alex, because it's just appalling. And the idea that that would be at the Lincoln Memorial, but also audible to others because of some of the amplification equipment that they use. And so we've got an affidavit from one of the plaintiffs, the military veteran, Mr. Romano, and I think this is not publicly available yet. I've pulled it off of Pacer, the court system, and if you don't mind, I'll just read you 2 sentences that explain where we are. Mr. Romano writes, "One of the most moving and powerful aspects of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is its quiet tranquility. That tranquility both honors the fallen and allows those who have come to pay their respects an opportunity to reflect and remember without interruption." And then he talks about how the unprecedented use of sound amplification equipment, which is normally prohibited for this UFC event, will absolutely damage that. And he makes the forceful case that he, along with others, have standing to sue.
Can I ask on a big picture level, Joyce, what is the point of having rules, of having laws that require congressional approval if they are treated as mere suggestions?
It's a great question, and it's the modus operandi for this administration. They simply continue to try and plow past laws and regulations that don't suit them, acting on the assumption that no one will get in their way, that Congress will continue to be supine, that the courts won't interfere. But with Judge Mehta, they have a jurist who has shown a pronounced ability to look at the facts and the law and try to hold the administration accountable. And that extends to Donald Trump personally. This is the judge who has permitted the civil case around January 6th to move forward, finding that the First Amendment might not cover the sort of language of incitement Donald Trump used that morning of the insurrection. So this may be the perfect storm that Donald Trump fears about to take place here.
In terms of the administration, though, just literally bulldozing ahead, Friday, the D.C. Court of Appeals heard arguments about the corporate-sponsored ballroom. The big question was, could courts stop construction even if it was found to be illegal? One judge asking the DOJ lawyer, quote, "If the government decides very quickly to bulldoze the Statue of Liberty, but the government moved too fast, nothing can be done?" The government lawyer replied, Joyce, "I think that's right, yes." Can you explain that to me? Because if that's the case, then what stops someone from tearing down, say, the Trump Arch down the road?